Namaste. Someone was asking about reincarnation and, what was noticed by the readings as some of them that people looked up to and thought were enlightened still had more of a journey to go. But what I've seen with the readings that were done on Sri Ananda Maima, Ramana, Ramakrishna, those ones, did not seem to have more of a journey to go. At least that's the way the reading went. When the body dropped, that consciousness remained the same. And so, who can say, though, totally? It's so mysterious also. But what I did is I do have a picture of the Buddha up on the screen in the cosmos and some serene waters there. So the question is, how does one exhaust the cycle of birth and death? And I figured, why not give this a try? I mean, with the pendulum, it can read anything. Something will come forward. It's like the tarot cards, really. You throw the cards and see what comes up, ask a question, and, all one can do is see what happens. So let's see what happens with this, the reincarnation. What is that about? How does one get out of that cycle? Okay, so let's go ahead and start. Okay, so that question is out there, and we'll see how the pendulum moves with it, what story it speaks. So it may take a bit to connect in, I really don't know. Okay, so when you look at the Buddha, again, this one is in the energy is going straight up in a straight column. There's nothing obstructing it. Okay. So nirvana, being awake. This is having mind blown out of all the drama, of all the sense of personhood, of any attachments to body and mind. So that's when we're speaking of nirvana. This is what we're speaking of. Okay, so if one is still attached to the form, attached to the mind, attached to any sense of personhood, let's see if that brings about karmic cycles where one continues to reincarnate and have another birth and need to continue lessons and the journey. Okay, so there is a yes with that. So that seems to be a fact in terms of energy, really. Karma, okay, and reincarnation has to do with that. Okay, so anything else with that? Let's see. So we're still talking about one that has those attachments, those desires. Okay. Okay, so that one continues to transmigrate or journey onward onto other planes, plural, or onto the earthly plane. There certainly are other planes, other levels. There's the lokas, where people go to more of a heavenly realm, but there is still desires, there's still attachment. This is when they go to those realms, when one still has some merit, when there's merit. They've built up merit, but they're still in a light body, which has, they're attached to that. So there is still a sense of personhood there, and their merit, their time there does eventually run out in those heavenly realms, and one can feel those realms where there's just a lot of purity. The nature is beautiful, the waterfalls. So many people just desire to go to those lokas, and but that will run out, and they will be driven back into a heavier body to continue their journey on the earthly plane, or more in this heaviness. Okay, and with this heavy body, one can experience, and this experience brings out certain understandings for people. They can it's like a vehicle of their experience is in this body form, And so they can touch, feel, hear, taste, all those things, and they can connect. They can connect with people in a way that helps them, brings about a certain understanding, certain feelings, okay, that they have to experience, live through, work through before they can be cleared of them or come to other levels where they will say, okay, now I want to journey deeper. Some are more on that superficial, just ego pleasure, and then as one goes deeper, it gets more subtle in terms of energy, kundalini, and things where you're going more through consciousness, which is not so body-based. All right, so let's see. We're going to just let this run. Okay, so this is the flow. This is part of the flow. Certainly, there's not all the answers are going to be here. There's so much mystery to it. You know, you can't put it all out in a book like here it all is, step by step, certainly. But again, this nirvana, this being blown out, is one, let's see, is one completed their karmic cycles then. Okay, so there is a yes. Would one ever reincarnate if they are in nirvana? Okay, it's very weak. There is some movement there, as if to say if this is what was needed for the planetary evolvement of consciousness. That one would, so one that drops the body that's in nirvana, do they care if they reincarnate or not? Okay, you can see it's no, because with them, there's no individual self. So it's not like they can say they are going to reincarnate. You know, it would just be a movement of the same consciousness. Which may sound confusing, but to them it doesn't matter. That body goes, you know, the consciousness is all. So it's not like they are worried my individual self is going to be reincarnated. And really with these questions of reincarnation, it comes more to minds and hearts that are still attached somewhat to body, mind, where they do see themselves as being individual, that they would reincarnate, they are going to move onward into another plane or whatever. Now, one that is free of those entanglements has no more questions. You know, death and birth go, those feelings, that way, they are in a deathless state, that is, or something that lies beyond that. So their consciousness is there whether they're in body or not. Okay, so let's see if there's anything else. So I'm trying to get more of a feel. So many can speak of nirvana but not be there. This is obvious. And they do this, but they are still not completely cleared of this debris or this movement, okay? Because when there's movement, there's mind. So when there's movement, when mind moves, there's suffering, there's attachment, okay? So within one that's free, there's no movement in that way. There's just peace, there's beauty, there's stillness. Right, so there is a point, though, where one is beyond birth and death, and they are out of those entanglements or bonds or fetters of karma and reincarnation. Okay, let's see, we're getting a big yes with that, yes. So, you know, most, this is something that takes place when mind falls away. And, okay, although there are some avadutes or ones that come in enlightened, they come as a way to shake things up, as a way to bring blessings, as a way to rock this world in a way. You know, and they don't care, they're not attached to that body, they don't care. You know, one good example would be Nityananda the Avadut. Okay, this is not something, you know, whether his body's there or not, it doesn't matter. He knows that's not him, not in a logical way, it just plays out. Okay, the body just plays out like everything else on this screen of consciousness, and that's not what they are. So really, you know, but that embodiment of purity does enter the earth from time to time, and that is to shake up these stagnant energies here on the planet. All right, anything else? Okay, so you see with this pendulum, it will answer anything, and this is why, you know, it's not just a reading of this or that. So if people have other questions about spiritual matters or that they feel are of importance, this can certainly be put out there. Again, it's a lot like the tarot cards. It's a lot easier, right? I don't have to shuffle or anything. And the story, the message just comes forward through this pendulum, through this energy, connections, and it's voiced quite effortlessly. You know, it's not that this is anything I thought would come out this way. Okay, so thank you for tuning in. Namaste. Bye-bye.